Hello friends, welcome back. Well, I've just said how I had the first two miracles of God in my last videos. As I said, from the Christmas of '94, I was going out with this lovely girl and wow, she could dance. I mean, she was just a total natural to it, and she was quite athletically built, so she was fit enough to do it as well. Whereas me, I was awkward and cumbersome. I didn't really understand the tempo and rhythm of music well enough. So I was really awkward. I couldn't dance at all. I mean, I could stand there and just jig about, that was it. But I was determined to learn, and I persevered, and every day for half an hour I danced to club music, quite fast club music and inspirational music, music I loved, that I was passionate about, that got my spirit feeling good, I guess. I didn't know anything about spirit at this time though. So, I danced, and I also started swimming because I was slowly moving apart with this girl, and I used to see her every night. So one night I went swimming just so we wouldn't be together, but I got so fit over these next coming months. My legs got like suspension springs, and I got extremely fit with the swimming because I was power swimming, doing like 80 lengths of the swimming pool. So I was trim and I was fit, the fittest I've probably ever been. Even when I was shepherding, which was a very hard physical job, I was still fitter than that, and my legs were super fit. And I was walking along and it was like I was almost bouncing, because where I was moving my legs up and down quite quickly, I got very fit and fitter and fitter. So you have to be fit to have this sort of spiritual experience. I went through many different stages of trying to learn to dance, and as time went by, I started to understand music, and I could see the cycle and tempo and rhythm of it. So it repeats itself and whatever. But to dance absolutely to the music, you have to let your body totally be the music in motion, and it is a oneness between mind, body and music. And now I was not accomplishing that. Even after a couple of months I was still not accomplishing that. But after a couple of months, the old person came up to me and said, "You're a great dancer," but I knew I hadn't got it perfect. So anyway, it was about the middle of March 1995, and I went to the club, and my girlfriend had gone somewhere else, so I was there on my own. It was 9 o'clock, and there was nobody on the dance floor, but this song came on, and it was one I loved, and it was quite a fast song to dance to, because there's different levels of dancing. There's really normal slow dancing, which not really dance to it. There's medium dancing, which is halfway there, and there's very quick dancing that is totally with the flow, catching every sound in that music, every instrument in that music, every voice in that music, every bit of singing, everything. It incorporates the whole thing. If you dance completely at one with the music, you incorporate everything in it, which is very difficult to do. But I went on the dance floor on my own with no inhibitions. I didn't care what anybody else felt, because I knew I was a fairly good dancer anyway, so I wasn't going to embarrass myself. But to have a spiritual experience, you have got to go on the dance floor and trust in your true self, you see. But I didn't know this, but I had no inhibitions, nothing. So I was free of mind, and I had learnt to teach my left hand side of my body, which was more awkward with because I'm right-handed, right-footed, to be able to flow the same way as my left, so that I could use it as well as my right-hand side rather. So I could use my left-hand side as well as I could my right side, found equilibrium, and I started dancing, and after about a minute of this song, I knew I was dancing perfectly. Absolutely, I was the music in motion. I was catching every bit of it, and predicting every bit of it. And it was phenomenal, and I was just over the moon that I'd finally got there after all that effort. That was dancing perfectly, as well as what anybody could dance. Then, after a few seconds, all of a sudden there's this great energy started welling up in my stomach, a beautiful feeling. And then it started spreading down my legs and up through my torso. And it kept spreading down my legs and up my torso, up to my neck, down towards my feet, and then I was totally it. And I know now that it was every spiritual chakra in my body opening up, down to my fingertips, to my toes, to the top of my head. My spirit woke up inside me. I was rewarded by my own spirit for achieving perfection. in dancing to music, because the spirit, I know now, truly loves to dance, and it truly loves to do things that where the mind, the body and music are as one. And you know, there is no separation. Your mind and body are acting as one to the music. So it was wonderful, and you know, I was jubilant. It was the most beautiful, wonderful experience, and I had instantly no doubt I was a spiritual being, because that you'd have no mistake knowing you're a spiritual being with that experience. It was so powerful, that energy was so invigorating. And then the spirit took control of me and started dancing, and it was like I could sense not a voice or anything like that, not even really a thought of a kind, just a knowledge of my spirit saying to me, this is just the beginning of what I can do. So it was wonderful, and the spirit was in control of me, dancing across the dance floor, and I was floating across that dance floor. My feet, I could feel them just touching the floor, as though I was floating. It felt like I was floating, and I'm sure I probably was quite etheric at that point of time. So this lasted for 3 songs, and I was just so happy. I was over the moon with this experience. And then after 3 songs, it slowly shut down again, you know, and that was it. So I had my first spiritual experience. I walked away from that experience knowing I truly was a spiritual being within me, and that's what I truly was. And also, you know, soon thought a few minutes later, well, if I am a spiritual being, surely there must be a God of some kind, and most probably an afterlife of some kind after this life here. And then I thought, you know, that's great, because all my family will be alive in spirit still somewhere in the afterlife, whatever that might be. And I also understood that, you know, there probably was a next step. If I could find a spiritual experience on this world and discover that I was a spiritual being, that somehow there probably was a way to find something more. And then I went away from that experience, and I knew that was the calling, what I was meant to find. I knew I'd discovered what my calling from the autumn of '94 had been calling me to find. My own spirit had been calling out to me to find it, and I never thought I'd find it through dancing, but that's how I truly found what I truly am, a spiritual being. And anyway, I'll go on to the next video, which is just the precursor of what happened to me before I moved into Peter's house, and then what started happening when I did move into Peter's house. So thank you for your time. Have a good day. Bless you. Love and light, Shep.